So thank you for coming to my speech today. My speech is about do I believe that you should spank your children? Yes or no? And I do not believe that you should spank your children. A considerable number of parents claim that they spank their children. Several factors enhance the possibility of spanking children. For instance, religious factors. Parents who are more religious, facts show that they spank their children more frequently, as well as also African American and Hispanic mothers also hit their children more than other races as well. Also, families' economic status, money also translate into less spanking. The reason for that is because the facts show that families who have less money are more stressed and tend to take that out on their children. As well as also the geographic location of where families are located also plays a part. So children that are from the south are also more likely to get spanked as well. In the course of disciplining a child, spanking can be a problem, and it also seems to cause more problems as well, such as confusion, low self-esteem, and aggressive behavior as well. So I have a question. Do any of you have a vivid memory of being spanked as a child? Just kind of think about that while I'm doing this speech. Do you ever have a memory of thinking maybe later on about, why or how your mother and father punished you when you were younger? Maybe you have none. Some of us are thinking that that's how we were raised, and others we do not. There's certain things or practices that makes us good parents. On the other hand, spanking a child may shake the foundation or trust and also may shake the foundation and trust that you have built in your child as well for quite some time. Your kids believe you have consistently had their back and their best interests at heart. Spanking can also adversely impact that relationship that you have with your child. We're now in the year 2016. We do not have to spank our children. A lot of people think and they acknowledge that it's a mistake about their actions and their behaviors. By now, we've developed enough skills to know how to punish our children. Now we understand how to communicate better, and we have the tools available for us to discipline our children without using our hands. Spanking a child has just become a practice by our parents and grandparents, and it's been passed on from generation to generation. Spanking is an indication that older individuals have the right or permission to spank younger people. Spanking means that you're sending the message that mature and bigger humans have the authority to punish you or hurt you, and that's a wrong message to send younger people. The situation is not only confusing, but it's also it's contradicting as well. Both the aggressor and the victim will grow up thinking that older people have the authority to hurt younger people, and that's not right. Can you picture what might happen when your children grow up to be adults just like you? They're going to end up doing the same thing that you did, punishing their children. Spanking also sets a pattern of violence. That's how we solve our issues, and that's not how we go ahead and we solve issues. In many cases, there's been reports of bullying in schools where there have been a result of victims being bullied due to hitting as well. Such actions among children indicate that children view violence as suitable means to solve an issue. So if I don't approve of you, then I'm going to hit you. Or if I don't approve of what you're doing, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit you. One example of an article that I read recently was with young girls coming to teachers and coming to their parents and them saying that someone, or a boy specifically, was being mean to them. And the old saying is, well, they're mean to you because they like you. That's sending a message that that's okay when somebody likes you, that they can hurt you. And that's not an okay thing. And that's not an okay message to send. and that's not an okay message. So we need to teach our children at a young age that is not okay. And so going on, so physically also, spanking a child can be perceived as a form of bullying, that I'm bigger than you so I can hurt you. And that's not the message that we want to show our children. Also, it's also sending a message to children that this is an efficient way to get the means to get others to do what they want them to do. Also, spanking damages self-esteem. So when we're spanked by individuals who are supposed to protect us, it makes children wonder or question, am I normal or what's wrong with me? So parents who are hurting their children are really doing damage to their self-esteem, because we're supposed to be the ones as their parents to be their protector. As parents, if you love to watch your children succeed in life, the degree of self-worth and self-esteem will maintain an influential factor in their life. No one can learn when they're afraid, as well as no one can learn when they're not liked. Some research and studies indicate that it's biologically impractical to analyze and execute higher order thinking when we're living in fear. So that just goes, when you're scared, you're not going to learn and you're not going to feel protected. A human response or a human fear response triggers a flight or fight instinct and the adrenaline, and it floods in our brains and our bloodstreams as well. Human blood is diverted in a higher order and extremities in the frontal lobe, as thinking is most closely down for our reflex actions coming from the human instinct brain stem section. So as a parent, if you wish for your child to study something, it's more important to minimize their fear versus increasing it. A lot of parents, if they want their children to do homework or if they want them to behave, then they instill fear. I'm going to hurt you if you don't do this. Whereas children are not going to react in that way. They're not going to be able to perform when they're scared. Spanking also reduces your control with your children. You think because you're hitting your kids, you're in more control, but it's actually you're more out of control than you ever were. And a lot of parents spank their children out of anger versus actually out of discipline. So you're actually hitting your children because you're mad, not because you're trying to discipline them, and because you're frustrated and you don't have the right discipline in place to manage your children. So when you really reflect, like if you're thinking as a parent, have I regularly maintained that, and do I have a connection that is a foundation for every influence that I have with my child? When you reflect upon those that you trust, you listen to, and you seek out for guidance, it's those individuals who encourage and support you. And in general, those who punish us physically or emotionally aren't those people that we really look for and think when we reflect on about people who really encourage us and support us. Another thing is, do you desire to maintain influence with your children? So if you want to be a huge influence in your child's life, you need to really reflect back, and is hitting my child something that I want to do long term, and is it something, basically thinking, what kind of influence do I want to have over my child? And I believe that hitting a child is not going to give you the influence that our children in this generation need. So in conclusion, I really believe that society should try to and follow more humane ways in teaching our children to understand right from wrong, rather than trying to inflict harm on them. I think that the children will be grateful, and their children will also be grateful as well. The Latin foundations for discipline implies to teach, while in Latin the root for spanking means to inflict harm. Thus, whether or not a child warrants to be smacked is really debatable. Thank you.